My name is Peter and I am from Canada. I work as English teacher. Here's a simple and effective way to introduce yourself in English. Hello everyone, my name is Peter and I'm from Canada. I work as an English teacher. I have been teaching English for 10 years and I really enjoy helping students improve their language skills. Teaching is my passion because it allows me to connect with people from different backgrounds and cultures. In my free time, I enjoy reading, traveling, hiking, etc. I also love learning new languages and exploring different cultures. I grew up in a small but loving family, and now, as an English teacher, I often find myself reflecting on the lessons life has taught me through my family. Growing up in a house full of love, I was born and raised in Toronto, where I lived with my parents, Michael and Anne, and my younger sister, Lily. My father was a high school math teacher, strict but fair, and my mother was a librarian, a woman who loved books and filled our house with stories. Our home was small, but it never felt that way. It was filled with laughter, the smell of home-cooked meals, and endless conversations around the dinner table. My mother always believed in the power of words, and my father believed in the power of discipline. They were different in many ways, but together, they built a strong foundation for our family. Lily and I were close despite our 5-year age gap. She was the curious and energetic one, always asking questions, always wanting to tag along wherever I went. At times, she was my greatest annoyance, but more often, she was my greatest source of joy. Dreams and disagreements. As I grew older, I developed a deep love for literature. My mother's influence was clear. She introduced me to Shakespeare, Dickens, and Hemingway. I knew early on that I wanted to be a teacher, just like my father. But instead of numbers and equations, I wanted to teach stories and language. My father, however, wasn't thrilled about my choice. English? He said one evening when I told him about my plans. Peter, think about something more practical. Science, engineering, maybe even math like me. But I love English, I argued. I want to teach people the beauty of language. He sighed, shaking his head. I just want you to have a stable future. At the time, his lack of enthusiasm felt like rejection. It hurt, but deep down, I knew he only wanted what was best for me. The hardest goodbye! Everything changed when my mother got sick. It started as fatigue, then unexplained pain, and soon the diagnosis, cancer. Lily was only 12, too young to understand the weight of what was happening. My father, always the strong one, suddenly seemed fragile. I had never seen him cry before, but one night, I heard quiet sobs from his room. We fought, all of us, in different ways. My father fought to stay strong, Lily fought to pretend everything was normal, and I fought with the fear of losing the person who had always been my biggest supporter. Then, one cold winter evening, she was gone. The house felt empty without her warmth. My father buried himself in work. Lily became quieter, and I, for the first time, felt lost, rebuilding and moving forward. Grief changed us, but it also brought us together. My father and I started talking more, not just about responsibilities, but about memories, about Mom, about the things we had left unsaid. Lily grew into a strong and independent young woman, inspired by the resilience she had seen in our mother. She pursued medicine, determined to help others in ways we couldn't help Mom. And I followed my dream. I became an English teacher. One day, after my first year of teaching, my father visited me in my classroom. He looked around at the books, the eager students, the passion I had for my job, and finally, he smiled. I see it now, he said. You were always meant for this. It took time, but in the end, we understood each other. Family isn't perfect. It's messy, painful, and sometimes full of understanding. But through it all, love remains. And that's what makes a family whole. Time passed and life continued. Lily grew into a strong, independent young woman. Inspired by everything we had gone through, she decided to become a doctor, wanting to help families like ours. As for me, I finished university and became an English teacher. I found joy in teaching, in sharing my love for literature, and in seeing my students grow. One day, after my first year of teaching, my father visited me in my classroom. He looked around at the books, the eager students, the passion I had for my job, and finally, he smiled. I see it now, he said. You were always meant for this. It took years, but in that moment I finally felt his approval. Years later, I started my own family. I married a wonderful woman named Claire, and together we had 2 children, Ethan and Sophie. When I became a father, I understood my own father in a way I never had before. The fear of wanting to protect your children, of wanting to give them the best life, it all made sense now. One day when Ethan was 8, he came to me with a book in his hands. "Dad, can you read me a story?" I smiled, remembering all the nights my mother had done the same for me. "Of course," I said, pulling him close. My father, now retired, often visited. He adored his grandchildren, and I saw a softer side of him with them. One evening, I overheard him reading Pride and Prejudice to Sophie. "She used to read this to us," I said, sitting beside him. He nodded, and now we pass it on. Life had come full circle. Epilogue, the ties that bind. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that family isn't perfect. It's messy, painful, and full of misunderstandings. But through it all, love remains. I lost my mother too soon, but her love for stories lives on through me, through my children, and even through my father, who, despite his strict ways, always loved us in the best way he knew how. Family is about more than just being related by blood. It's about the lessons we pass down, the moments we share, and the ties that bind us together through joy, through sorrow, and through every chapter of life. Thanks for watching till the end. I hope you find this video helpful and you can master English quickly. If you more about English learning tips and up-to-date English learning video tips, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button for more English learning tips. And we will put new great content every single day, and don't forget to give thumbs up and comment below if have some question. See you on the next video.